You'll soon be cutting less and quilting more. Hello, my name is Deborah Rubles. I live in Lebanon, Missouri, and I'm the author of The Quilter's Cutting Guide to Sliding Ruler Method, and I had this book published in May of 2017 in Springfield, Missouri. And the whole purpose is it's a cutting tool along with being a book about cutting techniques. And if you follow the cutting techniques and instructions in the book, you'll soon be cutting less and quilting more. Today's cutting snippet is going to be about cutting out different measurements out of a piece of fabric. Now when I prepare my fabric to cut, I will have it already pressed and with a post-it pinned to it. And on the post-it are the particular instructions that I need to cut out for this piece of fabric for the project I'm working on. And I'll take the post-it off and stick it over here under the cutting mat so that I can see it, and also put it under the cutting mat so it won't blow away. Now, my fabric, as I prepared it, it's kept folded in half like it comes off the boat. Now, I don't mean a boat, B-O-A-T, I mean a bolt of fabric, B-O-L-T. So it's folded in half, and then I fold it in half again. So, and the first thing we have to do before we cut anything is to square it. So you have a straight edge that you're cutting from. And I square with 2 rulers, and that method is explained in detail in my book in chapter 2. So I'm squaring the edge now, and I'm done. So I didn't have to, whoops, where'd it go? Okay, the first thing, now on my cutting instructions, I have to cut for this project 2 4.5-inch strips, 4.5-inch strips, and then I have to cut 16 rectangles that are 1.5 by 2.5. So the first thing I'll do to tackle this is I'm going to cut my 2 4.5-inch strips. Now, the way that I like to cut is by using the Quilter's Cutting Guide. And you go to the 4-inch tab, go down, and then you go over till you find the 4.5-inch page. Here. Now, some of you can already be doing the math in your head, but I wanted to show, continue to show how to use this chart. This is the number of strips needed, and according to our instructions, we need 2. So you go down and find 2, and it says cut on 9. What that means is that you're going to find the 9 on your cutting ruler, on your big square ruler, and you're going to put that on that straight edge, the 9. So I've lined up the 9-inch measurement on the straight edge. I've also lined a dark line up on the fold at the bottom, and then I'm going to cut. And then all you do is you go to the next number, or if there was more, you keep going down the chart, you go to the next number, which is 4.5, and you simply slide the ruler over, and you put the 4.5 on the edge. And there's my 2 strips. Cutting this way takes about half the time. Some of you may still be squaring up your fabric or cutting the first strip, but we've already got our 2 strips cut. So we'll put those aside. Now out of this last piece, I'm not going to move it because it's still square because I haven't moved the fabric at all. Now what I have to cut is 16 1.5 by 2.5. Now when I cut the fabric, I like to cut the largest measurements first. And the majority of the time, that's probably the rule of thumb. So we're going to cut this, I'm going to cut this strip 2.5 inches wide, and then I'm going to subcut it to 1.5-inch pieces. So I just bring my ruler over, line up the 2.5, and I cut. Okay, so there's my piece. Now, this piece I'm swinging around, I'm lining it up on a line in the cutting mat, because now I'm going to cut 1.5 inch. We need 16 1.5-inch rectangles. Now this piece of fabric is folded up twice, so you're cutting through 4 layers of fabric, as you can see. So we're cutting through 4 layers of fabric. We need 16 rectangles. So 16 divided by 4 is 4, which means you're going to need 4 cuts, and when we're done, we'll have 4 piles of 4 each, or 16 1.5 by 2.5. So, but to cut this, I'm going to go back to the front of the book, and then you open it up to the 1-inch tab, and And this time we go to the 1.5 inch page. And we have to make 4 cuts because we need 16. This first column is the number of strips needed, so you go down to 4. You go over, it says cut on 6 inches, which means you find the 6 on the big ruler, line it up on that straight edge, and I haven't squared my fabric yet. So even on strips, if you're going to cut using this method, you need to make sure you have a straight edge. So let me square that real quick with the 2 rulers. There's my straight edge. And then we're bringing over 4 for 6 inches. Put the 6 inch on the ruler, put it on that straight edge. I'm also lining a line up on the ruler on the bottom edge of the fabric. I'm at 6 and cut. Then you go down the chart, so the next number is 4.5. Slide your ruler over, put the 4.5. Next number is 3, slide it over, is 3, and the last one is 1.5. So like I said, we have 4 pieces in each one. And then we have 4, so there's our 16, 1.5 by 2.5. So I now have all my pieces cut out for this color for the project that I'm working on. So that's your cutting snippet today from Deborah Rubles, author of The Quilter's Cutting Guide. You can purchase this book at www.quilterscuttingguide.com. Thank you.